paradigm of technology needs a little bit of shifting. I think we've seen this pendulum that we thought technology will solve it all. The more we digitize, the more we give them access there, it will be different. And I think what we're at is a point now that we need to move back kind of to the middle and realize how do we combine that with other instructional methods. I had an opportunity to meet with a number of employers when I was an academic dean. And one of the things they said to me is students are coming in with the outstanding technical skills. They could do anything with a computer. They could work with it. But they also said they didn't know how to work together. They didn't know how to communicate together. They didn't know how to write full sentences because they got used to writing in text and tweeting kind of jargon. And they really said that the socialization process they found of technology has really, in some levels, declined the civility of relationships people have. And so I think it's an important thing that we need to look further at and decide where the balance is. And I think it's something that will be very significant in years to come.
Thank you very much. I know we're running up against time, so I'm going to give you guys 30 seconds quick back across the board for this last one, which I think is a fairly important question. And you'll have free reign. One of the reasons that Collingswood was so technology focused was because of the state mandates surrounding Park and the assessment that it has to be completed digitally. So I will give each of the panelists 30 seconds to use the floor to say whatever they would like to say about Park and the Common Core. And that's good, bad, whatever. You got 30 seconds. We're going to keep a close eye on the time. And that's run its course, Mr. Rotson. You can begin with your opening remarks, and we'll shut her down.
Could I verify that there's no children in the room first?
I don't know if you can verify that, but I appreciate your sentiment wherever it may be couched. And Mr. Becker, I'll give you the first 30 seconds on Park and the Common Core.
It's been a failure in my opinion. I think it's something that has not been beneficial. We're looking for an easy way to assess and looking for an easy way to give everybody some kind of number. And I think that we need to come up with a more comprehensive view. We need to look at portfolios. We need to look at other things that are developed in addition to just the student's test score. I think we also need to look at not just having top-down measurements for faculty.
Thank you, Mr. Farrow.
I agree. It's been a big failure as far as the Park Common Core. I think there's a lot of core principles that are very good ones as far as Common Core goes. As far as Park, most importantly, what we've tried to do as a district, we need to continue to do, is be creative in using other assessments. I don't think we can go without assessments at all. They're necessary for placing students where they need to be placed to be most effectively taught. But we need to be creative, obviously much more so now, with a mandated test that's not successful.
Thank you, Mr. Conner.
I'm not a Park advocate. I think that children have many different levels of intelligence in different areas, and I think that Park and other assessment tools try to narrow kids down into math and literacy. And kids can be brilliant in many different ways. I'm more of an advocate of portfolio-based education. I do think that assessment is important. I think it's important both as an individual, but then also we need to have some level of comparison between districts to see how we're doing. But those assessments should really be based on portfolio assessments, some other developmental measures, and be more robust.
Thank you. Mr. Rodesky.
Currently, we are using Park to help strengthen our programs. In my opinion, Park does not do the latter, but there are assessments that do. I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. Mr. Wall.
I spent 57 days in a hallway 2 years ago as the instructional leader of a school administering Park. It is the biggest waste of time because not only is it a time consumer, schools don't use the data. The data comes back so much later and does not use it correctly. The problem is it's not going anywhere. It has a contract with Pearson that runs through 2018, but Park has now been written into the state regs for graduation requirements. You must take it after the year 2021 and on. You must at least take the Park to graduate.
Thank you, Mr. Wall. Mr. Rouse.
Agree with all that 100%. I am adamantly against Park. In fact, I have been to Trenton. I have talked to legislators to try to get them to reconsider at least voting. Our local people have not. As a district, I believe we were the first district in southern New Jersey, perhaps the entire state, that passed a resolution that was essentially an anti-Park resolution. There are better ways to go.
Thank you. And then, Mr. Rotson, if you would, these are the 90-second wrap-ups. The floor is yours to say anything you'd like to make your case to the public. I just want to thank the public for being so well behaved tonight. Thank you for bringing thoughtful questions. Thank you for listening with attention to the gentleman up here, and thank you, gentlemen, for running a good panel. So 90 seconds, Mr. Robinson, to stage case.
All right, thank you. Frankly, I'm not sure that I'm going to spend all 90 seconds. I really just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. This is, I mean, frankly, the attendance is encouraging. I agree. I think somebody said it earlier. You know, as a board, we did not believe that we were sitting on some mountain someplace and making decisions. We solicit public input. Unfortunately, we don't get much attendance at board meetings. I'd love to see all of you at board meetings in the future. Certainly feel free. So, you know, just, you know, I don't want to say too much. You've heard a ton of talking tonight. I have thoroughly enjoyed my 6+ years on the board. The last year as president has been challenging, but I strongly believe in what's happening here in Collingswood. Certainly, we have heard that from outside. I spent 2 hours listening to it last night, how great our schools are. And you know, we're not perfect. We strive for perfection every day. Our administrators and staff certainly do. We love them, and as a board member, you know, if given the opportunity to continue, you know, I will support our staff, our administration, and most importantly, our students every day that I spend on the board. So thank you very much, and I'm happy to answer any questions about it as I.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson. Mr. Wall.
So why is it important to have someone with my background in education experience on the board? Well, it's one thing to read about educational policy, instructional strategies, staffing models, discipline, and behavior management techniques, but it's another to live it, and I live it every day. I'm on the ground level in the schools. I live and breathe education. It's more than a job to me, it's a passion. So utilizing my experience as a teacher, supervisor, and evaluator of teachers, district level support and coach for school leaders, I'll help Collingswood School District in its mission in providing the best possible education for all students. And I want to leave you with this. All decisions on a board are made by a vote. Not one person can stand up here and tell you they'll fix that or do this. Not alone, it takes a majority. And it takes a majority vote to pass a policy, or to approve a budget, or to hire or remove a superintendent, or to approve funds to build a new football stadium. So think about who you want on your board this Tuesday. And do you want someone who's been there, sitting in compliance year after year, or do you want someone that will take action with the education, knowledge, and experience that I have, advocating for our children, acting with transparency, and ensuring that our children receive the best possible education? I do have the knowledge and experience our children deserve, and I'll be your voice, and I'll be our children's voice on the Collingswood Board of Education. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wall. Mr. Vesky.
It's been a pleasure to be on the board for 4 terms/12 years. Not every decision I made as a board member was easy. Sometimes it's safer to be in my patrol car after certain board meetings. But I did what I thought was best for the residents of Collingswood and all the children of Collingswood. If re-elected, I will continue to do what I've been doing to improve our schools. I just hope that whoever you guys elect, that the board continues to work together, which is a big thing. We've come a long way, like I said, back from 2004 till now, to work together to get things accomplished. If they're going to butt heads on the board, nothing's going to get accomplished, I can tell you that. So we've come a long way. I've been under the direction of great presidents, and thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you very much. Mr. Conner.
Thank you. I can't, I mean, I've said it before, I know people have said it a few times now, but, you know, I've been working sort of around education for a very long time. I've been an advocate for children in many capacities. I've sat next to kids who were getting sentenced in court, and I've sat, you know, next to kids in IEP meetings. And I've always found that no matter what education setting that I've kind of been in, that community participation is always the sort of predetermining factor of how successful that education system is going to be. And so I appreciate how passionate the community has shown in the last, you know, couple months. There was a huge turnout over the summer of the forum. There's obviously a big turnout here today, so I really applaud everybody who's getting involved. I know it was mentioned earlier that in the past people ran essentially unencumbered. There's like one person running for a board seat. Somebody had to be asked to write in a couple of years ago. And now we have 6 people that are showing a lot of passion for this, and I just think it's fantastic from a community perspective. You know, I have a lot of experience working in nonprofit organizations, looking at grants, fundraising, and I think that those are important skills to bring to this board. I think that there are a lot of opportunities that we can learn from one specific school or another and then expand that across the board. And I think that having the ability to bring in those funds will really benefit the community.
Thank you very much, Mr. Farrell.
To start, I'd like to thank everybody for, again, being here, and as I said before, if we could channel all this into everything we do as a town, and particularly with our schools, there's no ceiling to what we could achieve. I think that what is important to consider, particularly as of recent, when there's been so much passion recently, and passion over the summer, and talk about change and talk about being progressive, is that most importantly is making progress. You can't simply have change for the sake of making change if it's not going to actually continue the positive momentum that this town, and particularly schools and our district, has had. Certainly change can be made, but we have to have some kind of practical sense of channeling that to making progress. That's what I believe I bring to this board. My job on a daily basis involves working with people and negotiating resolutions. I've been a leader of 4 different boards, including not this one, but of course we're all leaders on this board, including our president, Mr. Rousset. But that's what's so important, is that we need to realize that we need people that are going to continue the positive momentum that this town has had, and not let our passion lead to breaking us apart at all as a town. We can't have that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Farrell. Mr. Becker.
Thank you again to all of you for coming tonight. I also want to just say thank you to all my fellow candidates. I think we've had a civil dialogue, and we've had a campaign that has, I think, been demonstrated integrity and the ability to talk about the issues. Let me end quickly with what I didn't get to say before. Everyone has talked about coming here. We chose to come intentionally to Collingswood 6 years ago. My husband of 38 years, we moved here because we've heard about the vibrant community that existed here. We also knew we wanted to become involved. And as we've been here, I've looked at where would my skills best be utilized. And as I look at my personal skills, my professional skills, and my organizational skills, I think the area would be serving on the school board. I grew up nearby, similar to what Clinton was saying earlier. I'm a first-generation college kid. My dad worked for New York Ship until they went out of business, and then was a carpenter. My mother was a homemaker and a nursery school aide. Parents taught me 4 things: work hard, get educated, respect others, and give back. And they modeled that. My mother was the den mother, my father was the cub master. My mother was the president of the JCFs, my father was the president of the JCs. My mother was the Sunday school teacher, my father was a city councilman. I lost my parents at an early age, and but one of the things that's always been important to me is the legacy of giving back. And if you think the skills and the abilities and the talents I bring can contribute to the be beneficial for the school board, I hope you'll consider me and allow me to continue that legacy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Ray Becker, Tim Farrell, Clinton Connor, Steve Radesky, Jason Wall, David Routson, these are your candidates for Board of Education and Collingswood and Finance. These things don't happen unless everybody agrees to do it. So thank you all for being game and being willing to come and chat. My name is Matt Skoufalos. My website is called njpen.com. I think it's the role of media to be engaged with the community, but the community's got to engage back with the media, because I don't know a lot of people buying papers these days. So if you like this stuff, subscribe, help me keep my website going, because I can do a lot of these kinds of things. Sherry Chambers and the Scottish Rite for providing all of the Commission for making this space available as well. I'd like to thank Seth Munoz and Kate Brady for organizing a Roads Mason, our timekeeper, and Tricia Burrow is filming this. We're hopeful that we can put it up on NJPenn's YouTube channel for streaming. And I just want to thank everybody here for being so engaged in this process. It is important that you go out and vote. If you would like more written information, many of the candidates have electronic presences. We have a recap, which everyone has participated in, of their positions and biographies. on njben.com, so you can take a look at that stuff. But thank you for giving me the opportunity to come and be a part of this conversation. And gentlemen, thank you for doing such a great job tonight.